It's sad that by the end of Super Metroid that the Etecoons and Dachoras would be considered an extinct species, due to there being far too little survivors to really properly repopulate the species. And with the planet being blown up, I don't think the chances of finding like a secret lost flock of Dachoras or pack of Etecoons out there in the wild are going to be high. But what if I were to tell you that there was a chance that the species of the Etecoons and Dachoras were facing extinction far before the events of Super Metroid, all because of a deadly disease ravaging the planet? And no, Matt Pat from Game Theory, it's not X-Parasites, let me explain. But before I do, if you like Metroid content, please subscribe to the channel as I make Metroid content regularly. Join the membership to support the channel. You'll gain access to early videos, cool little emotes, as well as a badge next to your name to show your support. And of course, let me know what you think of the video in the comment section below. With that being said, let's get started. Oh boy, I hope I'm saying these names right. Like, I never can tell some of these Metroid names, you know, but Etecoons and Dachoras, you know, the little raccoon monkeys and ostrich that help Samus in Super Metroid, those guys. Don't you think it's a little weird how we never saw like more of their kind on Zebes throughout the entirety of the playthrough? It's only just these 5. You would assume with how friendly and smart these guys are that more would appear throughout the game to help out Samus, or you'd at least assume that the Etecoons and Dachoras that did help us would bring alongside more of their friends and family with them to escape Zebes, but it's just these 5 creatures. So it's safe to assume that for the most part, like, these 5 are alone on the planet. So something must have happened to have caused these animals' population to just suddenly drop. And I don't think it's just because the planet Zebes is a harsh environment or nothing like that. Sure, only the strongest and harshest animals can survive in such a harsh environment. Even Samus herself had to get like genetically modified to even survive in the first place. But with the way that the Etecoons and the Dachoras naturally move around in their environments, it's safe to say that they can easily survive on the planet. So what gives? Is there suddenly a super predator on Zebes where the space pirates hunting these things down to extinction? Maybe since there's no more Chozo, there is no nice higher species out there to help defend and protect these creatures? Well, we might actually have the answer to this, and it's none of those suggestions. And the main culprit to blame for the sudden extinction of the Etecoons and the Dachoras are the Zoomers. Well, Zoomers by proxy, specifically the bacteria that the Zoomers carry around with them. So when we look at the data log entry for the Zoomers and Metroid Prime Hunters, it practically gives us the answer to what happened to the Dachoras and Etecoons. The Zoomers themselves are known for like breeding rapidly and carrying various forms of diseases, and that they're responsible for spreading a flesh-eating bacteria on Zebes, resulting in the extinction of many native species. This does beg the question though of how did the Zoomers get on Zebes in the first place, and even though it's not stated in the data log entries, I think the answer is kind of obvious. The space pirates. The faction as a whole don't really seem to care about the environments of the planets they occupy. In fact, they're more than likely either polluting or destroying the planet themselves. I wouldn't doubt they were the reasons why this species ended up on a planet in the first place. They brought their infested cargo along with them when they were occupying the planet, back during the events of the prequel manga, and introduced the species to the ecosystem. And with the Zoomers on the loose, that flesh-eating bacteria that they spread around would devastate the ecosystem of Zebes, and thus eventually causing the extinction of the Etecoons and the Dachoras, whittling down their numbers to only eventual 3 to 2 survivors. With their home environment and loved ones devastated by the bacteria, all they can really do now is just get off planet for a hope of survival. And luckily with the help of Samus, they were successful in that at least. And with this premise, I want to bring up 2 more ideas. One, could it be possible that the Etecoons and the Dachoras were on the BSL in Metroid Fusion because of this bacteria? To see if they had any kind of resistance or antibodies to help develop a cure or something. Interesting idea maybe, we don't really know what they were doing on the BSL in the first place, so this could be a good explanation. And the second idea, what if it wasn't the space pirates who brought the Zoomers onto the planet? What if it was actually the Chozo this whole time? I know it sounds a little far-fetched because the Chozo are normally the opposites of the space pirates. They tend to really care about the ecosystem and environments. But from what it seems, Zoomers are like the equivalent of space rats. So honestly, I wouldn't doubt that the Chozo accidentally brought them onto the planet in their cargo, not knowing that it was infested by Zoomers, and thus released the bacteria into the ecosystem. And some may argue that the Chozo are still cautious enough where this wouldn't be a thing, that they wouldn't accidentally bring Zoomers onto the planet. But I argue otherwise. I mean, they didn't know that Phantoon, an extra dimensional ghost, was stowed away in their cargo, so I wouldn't doubt that a couple of Zoomers would also be able to stow away. And I kinda like the idea of the Chozo being responsible for this. I like to think that this is actually a catalyst for how the Metroids were developed on SR-388. The zebes Chozo saw firsthand what happens when an outside pathogen gets off planet, so to ensure that the pathogen and anything carrying it doesn't get off planet, they would develop a super predator to ensure that the infection can't get off planet. I always thought it was an extreme reaction for the Chozos to develop a bioweapon or super predator to take on parasites. But in the context of them dealing with this bacteria in the past, then I feel like their rash judgment is a bit more justified, as they were afraid of causing another zebes. Although now in retrospect we know that they overcorrected because the Metroids were not a good idea long term, but that's the story of Metroid. But of course, at the end of the day though, you gotta remember, this is purely speculation. It's just a theory on why we only see 3 Etecoons and 2 Dachoras. Honestly, I don't even know if the species is extinct. But with the context of the flesh-eating bacteria, as well as the fact that we don't really see more of the species other than just these 5, then I feel like it has some sort of credibility to it. Though the fact that I'm using Prime lore for a 2D game, and the fact that the Prime lore is from a spin-off Prime game, some people might find some contention in that. Honestly, I think all the Prime games and all the 2D games are connected, so it all fits in my book. But of course though, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, real quick, member shoutouts to ZDS Pro, My Hairline Solos, Nexo, Link the Hero of Time, Rat Goddess, Resident Evil Player, Citrus Punk, Metroid 729, Vic, Arrowman Allen, Benjamin E. Mueller, and Rose Maverick Sane for being channel members and supporting the channel. The support helps out a lot, and if you want to be a channel member and support the channel, feel free to get a membership. You get early access to videos, access to unique emotes, and a special little badge by your name to show your support in the comment section. But of course, if you just like the video and share it amongst your friends, that's all I really need, honestly. With that being said, I'm the Metroid Trainer. Hope you like, favorite, subscribe, stick around for next time. I'll be seeing you later. Cue that end card.